I just came back from Brazil last weekend. I haven't unpacked because I wanted to show you how much I was able to fit in my packing cubes. Hi lovelies, welcome to Flirting with Travel. I am Lexi, and today I'm doing an in-depth review of the Peak Design packing cubes. This packing cube comes in 3 colors. This is the charcoal, personally my favorite. They also have a sage green and a raw. These are made of a weatherproof ripstop fabric, which is 70D nylon poly blend. What's really cool is that the fabric is self-healing. So if you were to take something small, and I'm not saying like a scissor and cut through it, but like a pin and just poke at it, the fibers will go back to their original form. I have been traveling with this for at least consistently like 2 years of hard travel, and I have no rips, no holes, nothing that looks bad. I think the worst thing that ever happened to these packing cubes is a bottle of oil got loose in one of my bags. However, I've since been able to get the oil out of these. The zippers on it are number 5 Ultra Zip being the brand. This is a compressible packing cube, and this is currently in its compressed state. But it is 12.6 inches tall, 6.7 inches wide, and then 3.1 inches deep. And in its compressed state, it carries 4.5 liters. Then you have the medium packing cube. This bad boy is 12.6 inches tall, 12.6 inches wide, and it's also going to be 3.1 inches deep in compressed and 6.7 inches deep in its expanded form. And it can carry 9 liters. There's a lot of perks of buying your travel setup all within one brand. And what I personally really like about that is that things are made to fit perfectly. So this is the Peak Design travel backpack. And ultimately what they consider this is like it fits 3 units. The small packing cube is considered 1 unit wide. The medium packing cube is considered 2 units. So if you were putting these in the bag, you could fit these 2, and then you have a little sliver of room. And it's better if I show you. Okay, so the Peak Design backpack is basically 1 large bucket. And if you're putting this in, then you've got your small packing cube, and then you've got your medium packing cubes. So it fills up the bag with your medium and your small, and then you have a little bit of room at the top, which is not big enough for another packing cube, but you can fit, I usually will throw in, I'll move them up top, and then put in a pair of shoes at the bottom in a shoe bag, of course. And that is perfect to fit this. It'll more than likely be something like my Chacos, something that I can kind of squeeze down, but they still have a bit of width to them. I put them in a shoe bag just because I never put shoes in my bag that are just like out in the open. We've got our small packing cube, our medium packing cube, and then a pair of shoes. And now you've pretty much used up all of your top to bottom space in your bag. You have a little bit of room on either side. It's really easy to pack it out, and it's made to fit kind of everything that you need, but nothing extra. So let's talk about the exterior of this bag. First off, you do have a handle on the bag. It's quite small, and it's a thin little handle. Now, if you've ever heard me talk about handles, one of my things is I always like the handle to kind of protrude from the bag so that there's daylight. And in this one, there actually kind of is. There's a bit of a gap. The other thing that you have, an external pocket, which this is considered your laundry pocket. So when you unzip this, you're able to, as you take stuff out of the main compartment and wear it, put it into the laundry compartment. And what's interesting is that the internal pocket structure is made so that if you were to take everything out of here and fill it all up in the laundry compartment, it'll slowly fill the bag from the inside. And I really like that. If you're going somewhere and you don't carry a laundry bag with you, as you wear things, you can actually just put them in here, and the material seems to do pretty good with being a barrier for smells. So like if you, I don't know, go hiking and like your shirt just kind of gets kind of rank, I mean, honestly, wash it in the sink, let it dry, and then put it in here, is my personal feeling. But if you don't do that, you can still fold it up, put it in here, and the smell isn't going to get to the rest of your clothing. The bag, instead of having one continuous zipper that goes around, has two zippers that zip up halfway. They don't meet exactly in the middle. Instead, there's a small gap in between the two. And what that is for is that you have these two tabs on it, and they're made as pull tabs. So instead of having to unzip it, you just grab, rip, and open. And that is such, I mean, like, talk about an unnecessary thing, but just so cool. Who thought of that? Who's like, you know what we need? We need to just be able to rip this open. I love it. And on the pull tab, you have the only branding that you have on this bag, which is a very small PD. And this is a compression bag. Now, this is probably one of my favorite things about this bag, is that the compression fabric is made of like a stretch nylon. And normally what you're gonna find with packing cubes, they make the compression insert in the same material as the fabric of the bag. And what you're gonna find is when you're trying to compress things down, what'll happen is that the fabric gets stuck because it's usually such a stiff fabric that it's fighting to fold in on itself. But instead, because they've used this black mesh that's literally see-through, it easily kind of folds in on itself so that it doesn't get caught. And it's always that easy. That is one of the things I love about it, is that it's so easy to compress down. So let's take a look at the packing cube without anything in it. Without anything in it, it has no structure. It's just like you could literally ball it up, and I really like that. When I first took it out of the bag, I was like, oh, I don't like how floppy it is, because I had been used to like really structured packing cubes. But once I packed it the first time, I was like, oh, the lack of structure allows, like I said, it allows the bag to fit your clothes, not your clothes to fit the bag, which is really how it should be. But it's so soft, and this is why it's so lightweight, simply because the material is just so thin. Now, looking at the inside, you can see where you have this internal pocket. And the internal pocket has structure so that if you're putting stuff into the laundry portion, it can slowly fill out the opposite direction. So you could easily, as you're like, hey, I'm taking out a shirt, I'm taking out a pair of pants, then you fold them and put them in, they're going to fill up the space and basically turn the bag inside out so that you can put all of your clothes, your dirty clothes in here, which I love, because if you were just going for a week, you didn't have laundry or you didn't have an inclination to do laundry, by the end of it, you would still be using this packing cube. It would just be full from the backside. You take everything out of your packing cube, throw it in the wash when you're done, and you're good. The other thing I really love, because this is the bag that I accidentally spilled like half a bottle of oil on, and it used to have like a giant oil stain right on the front, no longer has it. And that is because this bag is washable. So typically when I'm done traveling, I'll take everything out and I'll just throw this in the wash with, like, not jeans or anything that's super hard, but like with trousers. I'll put this in the wash with my trousers on a gentle cycle, take it out, let it air dry, and the material, because it's that nylon polyester blend, air dries so quickly, and then it's just fresh and ready for the next time I travel. I think the best way to see what the internal structure looks like is to pack out our packing cubes. So I am going to put, literally just unpacked it, but I am going to repack everything that I took with me from Brazil back into these packing cubes so that you can see it. So 4 shirts, fitness leggings, nighttime leggings, 2 t-shirts, pajamas, 2 pairs of pants, a romper, a dress, so 2 kind of big dresses that are flowy, my pillowcases, swimsuit, bras, a belt, some shorts to go under dresses to stop that thigh chafing, a bodysuit, and our unmentionables. So our goal is to pack all of this into our 2 bags, which Tall order, but let's get started. And we're gonna start with our pants. So as you're moving them in, you wanna move them like to a corner so that you can utilize the space to the best of your ability. Then I've got like this strip of fabric on the side. So I'm gonna go with like a big item. I'm gonna take this dress and push it in. Now, is this dress the best travel dress? No, because it's got a ton of fabric. So it takes up more space than 2 pairs of pants. Next, I've got a little gap here. So we'll go with something small, like a bathing suit. Just tuck it right into the corner. Then we've got another area that's kind of small but bucket-like. So let's see what we have. Got these shorts. You know what? This might actually be perfect place to just tuck in undies right in that corner. Now, we still have quite a bit of room on top. So let's take our 2 shirts. We'll do a bodysuit there and another shirt here. We still have a good amount of room. So let's try some of our bigger items. Scoot it over so I can see what I still have. I'm thinking, we'll go back and get that in a second. We're gonna do our leggings and our pants because they're taller. Now we can get a little bit of squish factor in this dress. So next, let's go with bigger items like this dress and this romper. And we're not gonna zip it just yet because we still have space, but we're gonna start packing out our small packing cube just so that we can make sure that we're utilizing space to the best of our abilities. So you're already unzipped. Let's open your expandable inch. There you go. So now we've got all of that extra space in here. And let's see, let's just start with shirts, which let me move these up here so you can actually see what I'm doing. So we've got some shirts that I'm just gonna push in and push to the front. Then I'm gonna try and fit this big ass dress in here. Nice. Now that is using up a ton of space, so we're gonna have to be very economical. Next, I've got my pillowcases, but they fold down so flat that I think here, there's a bit of squish factor. I'm gonna try and do pajamas, which I'm gonna put them sideways. Can I? You know what? I think we can. And then I've got a little bit of room back here for my underdress shorts. Tiny bit of space. Ooh, let's see. So my underdress shorts are gonna go in there. And then I've got my little like compression bodysuit. That might be all that I can fit in here. So let's go back to our big packing cube. And we have, a lot of compressible space there, which means that what we're gonna do is fold this up so that it's a bit smaller. Yes. Then we have a corner, which let's see if we can tuck this in the corner. Nice. Pretty much exclusively travel with like flat bras so that I can just put them on super flat up top. And then we've got a hair scarf, which is gonna go along this side. And I think that's everything. My belt. Then last but not least, my pillowcases, which we're just gonna go ahead and stick up top on this side because I think that's the only place I have space. So let's zip these up and see how they look. So this is the packing cube packed out pretty full without compression. Let's really put this to the test and talk about how this works. So what I love is that they even have a little pull tab here. So just so you can see it, there's a tiny little pull tab that you can grab and start zipping. And look at how the fabric doesn't get caught. Now mind you, this is packed incredibly full. And if you had packed this a little less full, you wouldn't even have to do this shift. But I packed it to like within an inch of its life. Okay, so really what I'm doing is I'm just kind of compressing this area. Whew, holy fudge. Okay, and voila! Oh my God, I fit it all. Okay, now let's try the small. And this one I think is gonna go easier because I didn't pack this one quite as heavy, I think. Now, the small does not have the pull tab. That's just something to note, which you're kind of okay. You can just pinch the sides of it and keep it going. Okay, this one might still be tough. Uh-oh. Are we in danger? Are we? Ah! Oh my God, it did it. Holy fuck, I love it. Oh, I'm so impressed. Like literally, I've been traveling with these, but I think the last couple of times I ended up leaving out that big pink dress just because it was so thick. But I made it work. Ooh, it feels so good. Man, I love when I see like something just work. Okay, so that is packing with the packing cubes. Now I want to talk about my likes and dislikes, which honestly, my likes, the capacity, the sheer capacity of what you can put in this. Now, should you pack it this like tight or this full every time? No, because despite the fact that this is made very like super quality, you're going to see something called seam grin. And that is basically when two seams it's overstuffed, so the fabric is trying to pull apart. Now there's a tiny bit of that on here. So it is packed so tight that you can actually see the stress that you're putting on your seams. So you should not pack it this full every time, but this is a good just idea of being able to see how you packed it. So the sheer capacity of this is amazing. The quality is also fantastic because despite saying that you shouldn't pack like this every time, I do very often pack these quite full and I still haven't had any rips in it. Like they give you a lifetime guarantee and I don't think that Peak Design did that without thought. It is quite a nice material. I love the pull top, being able to just get into your bags that easily. I've been traveling with it for like 2 years. 2 years pretty hardcore traveling. On the zipper, they have like a nice bit of rubber. Like if you've ever heard me talk about zippers, you know that 1, you should be able to comfortably fit your hand on it. 2, it should have something that grips your hand some way, somehow. These have like this hard rubber that make it very easy to hold on to. And then the material is knotted at the bottom so you can't just slip off. It's not like you're gonna hold this and pull too hard and your hand slips off of it. You're going to be able to get a good grip. But on to some of the things that I don't love as much. Here's one of the main things. I'm not a huge fan of the handle. So the handle has like it's attached onto here as like a 2-point contact, which basically means if you were to put the 2 pieces of fabric together, they put the handle in the middle. And so then when you turn it inside out, the handle is sandwiched. Then they folded the handle over the top and sewed it again. Because it has those 2 stitches on it that are holding it, it makes it very structurally sound from the sides. But in the middle, you have this and that. All that holds it together is a little stitch. So if you lift it up, you just have a stitch here. For me personally, when my bag is packed out full, I don't feel comfortable grabbing it by the handle. Not because it's ever ripped, nothing has happened to it, but just because I feel like if you only have, and I mean, it's a strong stitch, but if you only have a stitch going across, it feels like this is going to rip out at some point and rip apart your fabric. And it doesn't matter that it's ripstop. It doesn't matter that it's self-healing. That's gonna be a chunk of fabric taken out, and I don't wanna risk that. Now, is it a huge deal? Not really, because how often are you like walking around like do with your packing cubes like they're a handbag? If anything, it's more like I'm just moving them across the drawer with that. And for that, it's nice. Or if you're just pulling it out of your bag and you just want to lift it up and then grab it, that's perfect. The only other thing, and this is a hard one to say, is on the dislikes list, because it's not really a dislike, it's just a small thing that I keep in my mind, is that this, even compressed, is still pretty thick. Now, it's perfect for the Peak Design backpack. If you're looking at the Peak Design backpack, it's a giant bucket with a lid that goes on top of it, which means that you're packing your entire area up from the bottom. So you have a ton of internal depth. So when I'm using this bag with this backpack, these packing cubes are fantastic. But let's say you're packing with a hard shell suitcase that opens up dual-sided. You're trying to pack it on this side. I just want you to see how much it lifts up past the halfway point. It's quite a bit. And most bags like this have this zippered compartment, so you try and zip it and it's too thick to go in. The other thing is, like, why it doesn't go into this side is it can stand there, and I probably could do it, but then you're going to lose all of your internal space where these bars are. So if you have something super thin that you can fit in underneath, and then you put your packing cubes here, and then you just do something really thin there, it's okay. But keep in mind, even now, it's still extending past the halfway point of the bag, which means that you're not going to be able to zip this up, because when you zip it, it doesn't give you that extra room where you could close it. Now, let's say you have a suitcase that is a bucket, similar to the Peak Design backpack. You're not gonna have this problem. But if you are using a two-sided suitcase, these bags are not necessarily made for that. You're going to have to pack them to less than their capacity. Those are the only two things that I'm like, oh, here's something to think about as a dislike. I find that the best way to think about final thoughts is, if you were to lose this product tomorrow, would you buy it again? And I don't mean, would you buy another packing cube because you lost your packing cube? I mean, would you buy this specific product again? And this is probably one of 3 items that I have in my entire travel wardrobe, travel gear setup that I can say 100% without a doubt, I would go back and buy this exact same product again and again and again. I don't know if there's anything more that you can say about final thoughts other than this is probably one of my non-negotiables. I don't travel without it. But I'm not gonna ramble. I think I've said everything I need to say. Links for these packing cubes are in the description. Do you travel with packing cubes? If so, let me know which ones. If not, let me know why you don't travel with packing cubes. Otherwise, peace.